Reminder that during the public comments, we, the council, really can't respond. So it's not an opportunity to ask questions. It's more of an opportunity for you to speak and be able to be heard. So we're going to go ahead and start at 3 minutes now, ma'am.
Okay, dear Mayor and Council, my name is Isabel Rivera, and I am the Administrative Assistant Records Clerk for the Odom Police Department. I have been employed with the Odom Police Department since March 2019. During my years of service, I took on responsibilities such as dispatch duties, open records clerk. I am also the sex offender registration officer, the City of Odom building permit clerk, and grant writer for the Odom Police Department. I worked on a very important audit with our most recent Operation Lone Star grant. The grant audit was not my duty as it was addressed to our mayor, but I took on the responsibility to get it done along with Hilda to provide me with copies of check stubs so that our police department had no deficiencies. That grant audit is still ongoing and was brought up by the Office of the Governor. During my years of service with the City of Odom, I have seen our department grow, and I have brought in many ideas and events to our community. When I first started working here in Odom, Odom never had family events to attend. I changed that. I brought in our very first annual Odom Police Department National Night Out event. I also created and brought our first annual City of Odom Illuminated Christmas Parade, along with the Odom Police Department first annual gift giveaway. I also came up with the idea to do a home decorating contest for the community during Christmas time. I also created our very first Easter egg drive-through due to COVID. I myself feel like I did a lot for this community, and I myself feel that due to the issues the city is facing, our police department should not get punished. Our chief and officers work very hard to get drugs, burglars, and those breaking the law held accountable for their wrongdoing. Our officers rarely called in to work. They were always ready to take on anything that came their way. Retention of our officers was high, and we have a great chief that worked very hard to bring up our department. Us as employees stayed because we had a great supervisor. If we had issues, I'm sure you all would have known. I hope you all consider to relook over the police department budget and keep our chief, officers, and myself. And instead of reducing our staff, you all need to find a way to keep the department for the safety of the citizens and children of this community.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Officer Salazar?
Officer Salazar.
I'm sorry, I'm like a big old wall here. Sorry.
You can go ahead and adjust that
I'm sorry.
microphone. You can
Sorry.
adjust that
I
microphone.
didn't feel it today.
We're going to go ahead and start at 3 minutes now.
Okay. I want to start by saying I'm a canine narcotics officer for Odom PD. Been here a little over a year. I believe the budget, yes, is an issue, but I would like for the citizens of this town, the city, to reconsider the budget for the purpose being the violence in this crime, the narcotics usage, and basically, public safety for y'all. Because a little fun fact, I own an AC company. I don't have to be here. I do it because for the citizens, and it's my passion. So I just basically wanted to tell y'all, if you find it in y'all's heart to reconsider the budget, Chief Ochoa is outstanding. He's never had any issues, as far as like with his officers or anything like that. But that's just basically what it boils down to. The statistics are there, the numbers are there, there's resources. Let's band together, let's make this happen. I understand their situations may arise. Let's just get through it and just move forward if the council and of course everybody agrees. Thank you.
Thank you, officer.
Claudio Sparza? Oh, you didn't mean to talk? Okay. Okay, Officer Thompson, Lucas?
I'll wait. That's okay. Other people get, seems like it's a PDF for PD.
Well, that's it, you're the last one.
Oh, okay.
Come on up, sir. All right, Officer Thompson, thank you. If you could introduce yourself so we could have it on the record. I'm going to go ahead and start the 3 minutes now.
My name is Lucas Thompson. I'm with the PD. I'm the senior officer with this police department. Been here nearly 3 years. I'm addressing you today not only as an employee, but also as a citizen with the community. I moved to Odom last year in the hopes of establishing roots in this community and eventually purchasing a home. Under the budget proposal of the mayor, which I saw on his Facebook account, I have reason to believe that he and a few other council members are pushing to effectively gut the police department by leaving only the chief to handle all calls, investigations, and accidents 24 hours a day, while relying on the assistance of the San Patricio County Sheriff's Office. I understand the argument that the city of Odom is very safe. However, the increased presence of the Sheriff's Department here is primarily because of their employment at the school district. They assigned them off duty. Since here, I've investigated several assaults, even some aggravated assaults. This is a safer city with police presence, and things like car and home burglaries are deterred by our presence here. I ask the citizens of this town hold their leaders accountable for their decisions tonight. We know where some of the council stands, and we know where others also stand. It's up to you, citizens, to hold your leaders accountable. Even the town of Woodsboro has a police department, and their population is 1,299 people. My proposal is put off the 5% raise to other departments, which was proposed. Let's work together to figure out a solution which does not jeopardize public safety. Average response time here is less than 3 minutes. If the sheriff's department takes over primarily, it could go to 11 to 15 minutes. I hope that the council will look at this issue and address it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge Guerrero?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Judge Yolanda Guerrero. I am the municipal court clerk. I have been here for a number of about 7 years, and I brought more experience with me, something like 20-something from Sinton when I was hired here. And the reason that I am here is because my office is desperately needing a court clerk to help. As y'all know, I had 1.5 employees. That employee was taken away from me, hired at the city hall, and now she's got a full-time job with the city hall. And I just think that nobody informed me that this was happening. There's a lot of revenue out there, and I feel that if I could at least have a half clerk back. I'm gonna ask you to pass these around her. I'm sorry that I didn't give to you. These are reports from 2018, when we went on Fund View, that tells you per year what we collected. The back page tells you what has been collected. What has been collected, that's the one that is very, very interesting. I did notice that my budget was 163,000. It has dropped to 143,000. I tried very hard. I was called to the city hall the day that they were interviewing interviewing, and I was told to be there at 4:15. The chief had just left. The chief's budget was a lot bigger than mine, so he took a little bit longer. So I went in. I left there at 5:20. I had to run to my office, which is located at the police department. Had to make an adjustment that I was requested to do, and then I emailed it back to you. So that's a couple of days I asked. I was reduced 3,000.
Judge, can you kind of get in the front of the mic so,
Get here.
you know, you kind of,
I'm sorry, sir. Why was my budget cut $20,000? And his excuse was because you brought in your budget after 5 o'clock. I said, sir, you and I were here till 5:20. He said, I'm sorry, those are the orders that I had, that after 5 o'clock, everybody was going to go to the original budget. I just felt like it was a little unfair. I'm sure Mr. Bain has an answer for everything, and he did tell me that I left his office at 5:15, and the deadline was 5 o'clock. I could have been told. I wouldn't have been so worried. Wouldn't have had to redo my budget or anything. The police department are very, very hard workers. The clerk that's there right now, the officers, and I don't know. In my heart, I feel that the chief needs to stay, the clerk needs to stay, and 2 officers. And I will work very hard to see if more revenue can be collected. You can see there's a lot of revenue that's owed. But if I don't have the personnel, if I don't have the clerk to help me.
Thank you, ma'am. That's your 3 minutes.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else, ma'am? Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna recap a little bit on the budget that we're considering tonight. So we're gonna move on to item number 3, the discussion and action items to be considered. Item A, discuss, consider, and take action regarding the following issues related to the adoption of the budget for fiscal year 2023 and 2024. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2023, 2024.
So there's a motion by Councilman Falcon to approve the budget for 2023, 2024, and second by Councilman Candela. Any discussion? Phase 1?
I just wanted to say that I know you all did things very different. In the 25 years that I've done that, never have I seen a budget done like the way we did it. There was a lot of stuff that you had discussed that, you asked for our opinion, we asked for yours. You were gonna cut the city administrator down to 65,000. It's at 73,000. Saturday, you were trying to compare the police department to Fulton. The city of Fulton is only 1,400 population. I called Rockport, I called Fulton. Rockport has 25 officers. They help the city of Fulton tremendously. Right now, they're Fulton's getting ready to hire PD because they know they can't handle it. The city of Odom, are in a major corridor, 69 corridor. We get 28,000 vehicles a day. Again, that was like 5 years ago analysis. We probably get 30,000 a day. So we do have more traffic. Another thing that I was proposing, and Mr. Dominguez was also saying that we wanted to meet one more final time so we can include the water tax. We haven't increased water tax in a long time. Increased sewer tax, we haven't increased in a long time. There's other fees that are not increased. I know that Mr. Bain mentions that we've been running in a deficit, but what he means that we've been running in a deficit is years ago, we would always do a pass-through, or we would take the hit and not go up in taxes, not go up in water rates, not go up in sewer rates, and we would do it to protect the residents. And I remember Mr. Dominguez mentioned when they questioned him. So that's where we've been in the deficit, where we could have had more money in reserves. But again, if y'all been watching the news and the meetings and all that, we're in this situation because of what happened with the wastewater treatment plant. There was $710,000 that was distributed. It was not accounted for. To me, it's a misappropriation of funding.
So I'm gonna interject here. We're kind of going into a different subject. We're discussing the budget here, and so.
So I want us to go back to the table we have to the end of the month. What I want to do is eliminate 35,000 in pay raises, which is 5%, just until we get back up. Eliminate council pay. We get 12,000. We also agreed that we were going to eliminate it. I still see it on here. I don't need the money. Yolanda's already turned in hers. So eliminate that. That's $47,000 by those two if we eliminate. That couldn't even take care of Isabel. She gets paid right around that figure. Again, we go back to the table. I'm pretty sure there's other monies that we have not accounted for. They also do inspections. They bring in $100,000 a year in home inspections. They're the ones that do it, not City Hall. So they wear dual hats. Another thing is, the budget here, when you introduced it, y'all kept on saying that the PD spent X amount of dollars, but the public was never informed that it was the court and the PD together. So that's all.
All right, thank you. Vice Chair, do you have any comments or? Okay, thank you. Vice Chair, do you have any discussion or comments?
Yes, as far as the budget is concerned, I'm okay with everything, but the police department, I'm real concerned. And everybody goes back, and I don't have Facebook, thank God. But I hear a lot, and I hear people say, well, we used to be patrolled by San Pat. Yeah, we used to get money. But crime is bad nowadays compared to the way it was. We would have never thought in this room that the school district would.
Hold on, guys. You don't have an opportunity. Hold on, go ahead.
So nobody would believe that in today we would have police coverage at the schools like we do. And that's mandated because of what's happened in the past. I just feel that the police department does need to get cut back. But by 90%, I think that's too much. I would like to see at least one more officer. And if we can find it somewhere in the budget, I like the fact that we did not increase the taxes. You had 2 council members here that voted against that. And I'm glad that that didn't happen. But I would like to sit down and look at the police department again. I think we need at least one more. It was cut by 90%. And I just feel that right now we're putting the safety of our kids, y'all, the adults, the response time. I did reach out to Sheriff Rivera, and I had some questions for him. He answered me, and some of them were great. But there's some concerns that I had too that with his responses to me, which I won't tell you what they are, but there's some concerns in there. I would hate for us to go to one officer and then what happened to the safety of the public? What happened to the response time when something is an emergency? If you're calling the police department, you're not going to respond by the call. You need assistance. You're calling the police department for a reason. And that's my biggest concern. And you know what? If tonight I'll support however way the council goes. I have to. And I have to listen to y'all too. But I'm going to tell you how I feel and what I think, because I think I have that right. And if you don't agree with it, I respectfully, I understand. But I do believe in the crime is not where it's at today because of our police department being out and about. And he is right. Somebody went up there and talked and said the county's here because of the school. I live on the corner. They don't go anywhere. They go around Owl Square, and that is it. I see them every day. They go around Owl Square, and he'll continue to go around all day long. I see it. So that's the only thing I would like to see us do. Everything else, I hear you, and I'm okay with everything. That's my only concern.
Okay, thank you. Is there some comments that Ms. Rodriguez?
What time are they supposed to go home? Like if I call at 1 a.m., will somebody pick up the phone? My friend?
Well, I think the schedule varies,
They
Chief.
don't work all
I
night.
mean,
They've already been cut back. They were cut back a long time ago.
Well, like what, I met him 2 years ago,
Oh,
my friend over there.
If they go with the proposal, of course, it won't be 24/7, but we don't know what time will be.
Yeah, because everybody's been complaining. There's been, on that side of the street where, the post office is, I won't mention names. They, broke into, somebody's, car and they tore it, and then there was a backpack, which they know better now, you know. And they took it, and they took a lot of jewelry while she had it there. And then another friend of mine, an elderly lady, and it's early. There's some kid going, and it's not the Martinez. Okay?
let's not say any names.
That's what she told me.
Let's try to keep that.
And they always go in her car and take some little change. And one time they took her red purse. So.
Thank
not
you.
doing nothing. I mean, and those kids, they just giving them like.
Thank you.
hotcakes.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris. Oh, Chris. Yeah, good.
Since we're gonna take a little comments and stuff, my experience with the police department since I moved back a year ago. I've had like 2 or 3 interactions. Last winter on a cold, rainy, drizzly day, there was a homeless kid drugged out, sitting on the curb at my house. I called the police department. We'll send somebody out. So, 10, 15, 20 minutes, I was looking out the window, nothing. I called back. Hey, someone going to come by, this kid's out here, he's drugged out, I don't know what his problem is. Well, the chief went out. Are you the chief? They told me the chief went out. He didn't go out. I said, no, no one came out. I said, okay, we'll send somebody. Total of about 40 minutes, they finally showed up and took care of the situation. So we're talking about response times and stuff, but I was lied to. Chief didn't show up. 4 or 5 months ago, I saw the policeman in Salazar, I think his name was, that spoke first. He was sitting in the subway gas station. And I said, oh, I need to ask him something. And I said, hey, can you follow me over there to the truck stop by the Dairy Queen? I wanna ask you something about the highway here. He goes, all right. So we go out there. I live Billy Joel's old house. I bought that house. So I live in the corner, I think it's Parker and Klein. So when I'm coming from the Corpus area, right, and I want to go home, there are yellow stripes. And it's not a turn lane because there's diagonal stripes going through it. So legally, I don't think I can go into there as a turn lane. So I have people always honking at me, flipping me off. And so I took that police officer over there. He didn't want to hear it. I said, well, what are we supposed to do here? Well, if this happened, it's not really hard. He just was talking in circles. And then I said, well, I'm looking for some advice here. What can you tell me? Because I don't really know. He was in a hurry to get back to me. Go sit over there at the gas station and give out tickets. I suppose, okay, that's part of the job. I get it. But that was my concern. It wasn't handled. That day with the chief wasn't handled till almost an hour. And then a little thing I've had interaction was sitting at a stop sign and I'm pulling up and I'm like, well, what's this guy doing? He waves me over and says, hey, what's going on? He starts getting at it. Hey, can't you tell I'm monitoring traffic? Hey, relax, dude. It wasn't none of these guys. I don't recognize the guy, but hey, what are you doing, man? You're arguing with the citizens here? I'm just asking what's going on. How do I know you're monitoring traffic? You're blocking the stop sign. And those are just my interactions with the police department in the 1 year I've been back. So
Thank you.
that's all I want to say.
Go
I
over.
just had a question, like, is Sept gonna cover for them if you take them out? And if they do cover for them, are we paying them to cover?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, so they're just gonna help us out?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Okay. Oh, place 4.
Were you gonna say?
Someone else had a,
I think, were you gonna say something? Yeah, you said you had something in the budget.
If y'all need to finish, and then I'll get back to work.
okay.
Well,
Place 4.
Right here, right here.
I just got a simple question. I'm hearing heartstrings being pulled. I'm hearing budget woes. Times are tough right now for everybody. Get over it. This is the new world. We're gonna have to buckle down and get it done. But the PD, you're not showing any data. We're talking about how they're great and they're doing all this. They may be, but bring us the data. Show us the data. How many of these revenue generating deals, what are they? Are they speeding tickets? Are they jaywalking? What are they?
Yeah, how much money do they bring in? So
Not just the amount, but what, classify them down. And I know the records have to be kept. So you can tell this was for burglaries, this was for drugs. We had a K-9 officer bring up the drugs. How many drug busts have we had? And you got to stop and ask yourself, okay, it's a noble deal, but is the cost outweighing the benefit? That's what we got to get to. And forget all the other emotions and everything. The fire department's budget has been cut, I don't know how many times.
Okay, we just deal with it. We're not happy about it either, but we deal with it. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Thank you.
We're not asking the right questions.
I don't have the breakdown by what you're asking, but I think the last time was the 280,000 that they bring in a year, that I can remember.
It's
I might be wrong.
Versus
it's
the
more,
expenditure.
I mean, it's around 100,000, from what I've looked back. Unfortunately, that money can't be, it can't be added for budget purposes because we never know. We can't say next year we're going to generate 200,000 in tickets, because we don't know. So when it comes to actually budgeting, that money can't be included in there because we don't know. It's, for example, Mr. Huerta talked about increasing water tap fees and sewer tap fees. We don't know how much money that's really going to generate. So we can't just throw a random number out there and say, oh, we're going to generate $200,000 in water tap fees this next year or $50,000. So let's go ahead and put that in the budget. That's an imaginary number because what if we don't generate that money, but we've already budgeted it? We put it into the budget. So, and I know Miss Becky, she's done this over, and she and I have talked a lot about this. There are certain items that do generate revenue, but they can't be part of the budget process because they're not consistent enough. So, and that's one of them: the citations, the impound fees, and stuff like that. So that's right now we're just focused on actual numbers, revenue that we know we're going to generate, and that's what we need to run our city. So
Let me say for the record, I'm not against the police department. Don't do that.
So
I just want to take the emotion out of it. Let's look at the hard data.
So let's go ahead and
Decision based on hard data.
move forward here with place 4.
Well, like he said, I'm not against the police department, but numbers are numbers. We could always revise the budget, guys. I think we had a thing, we can get grants to get a police officer. We can also have the grants and then reserve officers. I think you can hire reserve officers to patrol. Is that correct, Chief?
We have reserve officers.
See, so there's options out there. It's not, for the record, I didn't want, but people said I don't want the police department, but I do. But that's why, we can revise the budget. There's options. We make money, we'll get a police officer. So that's where I stand.
Place 5. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
This is a tough decision that we have to make tonight. And again, like they said, several people have said, we have to base it on facts. It's hard. I mean, nobody wants anybody to lose their job, by no means. But the truth of the matter is there's a lot of expenditures that we have to make, and we just don't have the money for it. And we have to move forward. We have to. If we don't start looking at ways to also save money, what's going to happen? We're not going to have the money. We can't. This is tough. This is a very, very tough decision. It's one of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make this decision. One other time in my entire life, which has been today, and nobody wants to do this. Nobody. But we have to look at the facts. We have to. And we have to, again, like Mr. Falcon said, we can rebuild it. We're not doing away with it. We can look at grants. But right now we got to look at what we have, and then hopefully we can do.
For me, if we have issues with our water system, if we have issues with our wastewater system, let's just imagine the water system here, which needs some repair, goes out. That means the school's shut down. We can't open the schools. The fire department doesn't have the water to fill their trucks up if there's a fire somewhere, because they get the water from our water fire hydrants. So if the water system goes down, we just don't have, the schools go down, the restaurants close, most businesses will close. You can't flush your toilet if you don't have running water coming in. So there are some things there that we need to address. As your mayor, I'm asking you to trust me. I mean, I know the word trust is a big word. To trust my judgment, with what's needed. If we down the road need the sheriff's department to get more involved and we need extra help here, then I will reach out to the sheriff's department and say, hey, we need more help. You know, if we need, like, someone talked about grants, you know, looking at grants to bring on another police officer down the road, then we'll look at that. We're not doing away with it. We've had the sheriff's department here helping us since the police department got started. They've helped us off and on when we need it. And also the other thing is our staff, you know, need the tools to do their job. We have a server right now that runs our city hall right now. It's about 10 years old. It's about 98% full right now. And we can't, because it's so old, we can't update it. So that server is, you know, another $95,000 that we need to look into later on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry? 9,000. I'm sorry. 9,000.
Still trying to get to the 6 digit.
9,000. 9,000. I apologize for that. So I know that Judge Krebs is here. You know, Judge, I mean, you've always been a very big supporter of our community, and I'd like, you know, to give you an opportunity to maybe say a few words.
Well, I think y'all are on a definite. You've got issues, you know, issues, like the gentleman from the public said. You look at the issues and you gotta move forward. Get out of the hole first, and then you can move on and do what you need to do. That's what y'all are doing, I think. And that'll be, definitely save you. I don't want to see any city in my county have to go down. And, you know, you have to do some very, very hard decisions.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
I do want to say I'm new. I just came aboard. I just came aboard, and I do want y'all to know that this was difficult. We had a budget workshop 2 Saturdays, at least, I would say about 13 hours, if you put them together. We don't all disagree all the time. We don't agree either. But I do want y'all to know that I am a numbers person, and unfortunately, if the numbers are in black and white, if they, I mean, there's no way to lie to numbers. If it's something we can't afford, unfortunately, if we have to cut, cuts are going to be made. They're not permanent. They are temporary, as we've stated. At this time, this is our budget the way we've proposed it, and we have it is kind of in the direction that's going to keep us out of the deficit for another year. We can't afford to continue to not be able to make our bills. And our loyalty is to you guys. I think we should vote.
Well, we're going to go ahead and, Mr. Bain, if you could, go ahead. Ms. Becky. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Becky. You wanted to speak during the budget. So, yes, ma'am.
I have some of the same issues, but it's not so much about the police department. I was looking over the budget and I noticed that someone said that some of the fees and everything that aren't in there, you can't put them in if you don't have anything to go by. But what about sewer penalties? What about sewer taps? What about meter deposits? That's income. What about garbage penalties, garbage sales tax penalties? Those are all income. And some of those are pretty good amounts of money, but I don't see them anywhere in this budget. You've got in here system water sales. Okay, that's not a for sure thing either, but that's in here. And then right under that, you do have penalties for system water penalties. You've got sewer. You don't have sewer in there. You don't have sewer penalties. That's an income. We have garbage that we collect on. We don't have garbage penalties in there. This is all income, people. They're not in there. Deposits, meter deposits. Are we not going to collect meter deposits this next year? A meter deposit's $500 a pop for a new resident. We're going to have a lot of new residents in what I'm seeing growing out there. Ms. Walker's building, we still got, what's it called? Meadowbrook. These are all, and then here's something else that's not in there. That is building permits. The PD collects building permits. For 1 year, they collected $86,764. That's a good chunk of change. Not in here. I know that you can't pinpoint a dollar amount, but you can guesstimate a dollar amount. That you just give it a percent. Well, no. There's
You
a,
can't put a number on something that may happen and may not.
well, then they need to take out water sales. That's not, the number that they're giving you is not what we're going to collect, is it? How do they know?
Well, we know we have so many residents, so that's how much we're gonna, so far.
But
we're gonna
I
collect.
understand, but they don't know how many new ones we're getting.
Let's go ahead and,
So
you
I'm
have-
just saying-
You're got about
I know,
40
that's okay,
seconds left.
that's
ma'am.
okay. I'm just saying there's numbers in here that could help with that budget
And Becky.
that
we
are
can-
there.
No.
Like I state.
This is still, it's public comments.
Well,
It
no,
is, I
it's not
thought we
so-
were under
Yeah,
item
she's
3.
part of the public comments.
it's
She
not.
just waited.
No, I'm under the budget.
It's discussion. not
It's a
voting.
discussion for,
Can interact.
Oh, okay, I apologize. I thought you were written up for the
No,
public
she can-
comments.
She can
I don't want to
discuss.
be written up.
Okay,
sorry.
you signed up. I'm sorry, you
don't
signed
wanna
up for
be
public
written up.
comments, so I thought she
She
was
can
doing
dis-
her public
she-
comments.
she's under
Okay,
discussion.
okay,
She
she's
can
under
be part of the
discussion.
discussion.
Okay,
So,
No, I
anyway,
said-
Interaction changed about 5 years.
Yes, so she can.
this,
on the-
these are just food for thought because that's money. And there's a way to do them.
And Becky, like I stated, we can revisit the budget.
I understand.
So, let's just stick to the plan
That-
right now and then we'll tackle it.
That's a lot to come back and work on.
That's
No,
why I'm saying.
It's a
No.
lot.
We still have days. It's the 19th. We still have till the end of the month.
No.
I talked to the tax assessor. So you still have to the end of the
let's just
month.
vote on it. I mean, we can-
Okay.
we can-
um, so you wanna,
The budget that you're accepting does include water rate increases, sewer rate increases,
That's
and
next.
garbage rate increases?
That's
But
next.
you're going, working. with, right?
yes, yes, sir.
And you're working with salary increases?
A 4% salary increase, but that still has to be approved. It's actually 4, I think.
Well, the amount is less than what he said because the number of employees are down.
Right.
We had targeted for 5% and the impact is $30,000.
So
You also have to
again,
remember that if you up the employees, the city has to go up on what they have to owe to the state and the federal government.
And that is
So-
included in the $30,000, 5% cost is all inclusive, federal taxes.
and again,
municipal
that increase has to still be approved by the council. It's not just a unilateral where they're going to get it. It still has to be approved. What we're just saying is that we are putting money in this budget in case we want to, and I know several council members over the last 2 years, Mr. Dominguez has brought it up and Ms. Yolanda has brought it up, that we needed to increase the pay for some of our staff because it's not competitive. And that's why, that was one of his ideas. Now, whether that goes through later on, that's still going to be up to the 5 members that are up here. When it gets put on the agenda, if this budget passes, we'll have to put that as an agenda item, to increase the employees' pay by 4%. And then each member will be able to sit here publicly in front of you and decide whether those employees deserve that 4% increase or not. As mayor, unfortunately, I don't have a vote, but I do have a say. And some of our employees work very, very hard. And it hurts me that they could go work at McDonald's and make more money. It hurts me that these guys are in knee-deep mud. Some of them are not hired to be water or wastewater employees, but they go out there and without complaining, they get in the ditch, they dig the holes, they get up to their neck in water, and work on keeping the water flowing when you turn on the faucet. So that was one of the ideas that Mr. Dominguez here, Councilman Dominguez and Councilman Alvaro, and as well as Councilman Jesse had brought up over the last 2 years. So that's been incorporated into this budget. Again, it still has to be approved when in the next few months, once this budget's approved, in the next few months, we'll bring it up as an item, as an action item, and each council member will vote, their heart, whether the guys and ladies that are still working for us deserve that raise. I'm telling you right now, I think they do. I don't want any of our workers to want to leave to go flip burgers because they're going to make $2 more an hour or $3 more an hour when, here we are, we're providing them with health care, insurance. We're providing them with a lot of opportunities, an opportunity to learn a new skill. And I think they deserve it. But ultimately, these 5 members will decide when it comes up for discussion at a later meeting.
When we looked at the pay, our turnover rate was 50% plus.
Yeah.
50% plus. You can't keep a staff like that and get them certified and get them trained. There's no way. You hire one, the one leaves. You hire another one leaves. And that's not right.
I see a lot of citizens here that I've known my whole life. And if you guys recall years ago, we used to have like 9 maintenance people. We had several, like 4, I think, in the water department. We had 5 in the maintenance department. The alleys were mowed on a regular basis. The roads were patched up on a regular basis. Things were taken care of back then, but throughout the years, people have left and they haven't been replaced. That money has been used for other things. We are here now with an opportunity to change that, to hopefully work our way back to where we're fiscally responsible, we're saving money, and hopefully we can be in a position where we can start to hire, people, later on to continue to help and keep our community, clean, help our community keep the water running, keep the sewer running. Those are the important things in my book right now. So again, I appreciate you guys being here. There's a motion by.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
With regards to Ms. Becky's comments, I understand that there's a possibility that we could get additional funds. However, we can't base our budget on what ifs. What if we get this many houses? What if we can't? We have to face it on actual numbers, actual facts, because that's what we've been doing, and we cannot afford to adopt a deficit budget on a what if we get this. So and if we get it, great. You know what? Maybe then we can look at doing some of the things that we want to do. But right now, we have to base it on the numbers and the facts that we
I
have.
understand, Yolanda, but the water sales is not a definitive number. It's a number figure from.
It's still not going to make that much of a difference.
So let's go ahead and move on. There. I'm sorry. Oh, what? I'm sorry. Like, what do you mean? Like, the one that you're in your book? Paul, can you put the budget, up on the screen? No, the,
Bottom line. Yeah. The bottom line now. You can't see it much. Yeah.
so I want to go to something that I don't know where I heard it, but I don't know where it came from. We've been doing it like this for 20 years, 25 years. Well, you see where we are right now, right? So it's time to kind of move.
Where are we at? I don't know what you're talking about.
Can you expand it?
That's what I'm asking. Are we in a hole or something?
No, we're in a hole now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you look at the chart above, and I'll let Mr. Paul, you can explain this better than I can.
All right, well, this chart is taken from the financial history within the accounting records of the city. It starts in 2016. The top blue line represents the expenditures recorded within the system for that year. The green line represents the revenues recorded for that year. The red line down below, which you'll notice is a little bit below zero each year, is the net deficit for that year. The very bottom line is the cumulative amount of deficit based upon what's reflected in your records. Now, I'm going to digress a little bit about some of the detail. People who get into the detail will notice that the year 2018 is not shown on the graph. And that's because in that year, the city changed from a March 31st year end to a September 30th year end. And I didn't want to have to try to explain to people why there was such a dramatic decrease in the amounts being spent for that year. So it's not there. That the deficit for that year would actually mean that there was more than the $4 million cumulative deficit reflected in this graph. Say it another way, back in 2016, you had money in the bank. Today, you don't have that money. Part of the process that we hope to accomplish with some of these policies is to gradually, over a 5-year period of time, try to reestablish a reserve equal to 25% of your annual budget. Based upon the graph, your budget's running about $3 million. Within this budget for this year, we've got $150,000, a portion of that general fund, a portion of that the utility fund, that we are budgeting to not spend, to set it aside, to build the reserves, because right now, if you had a 2-to-1 matching grant possibility presented to you, you don't have the money to match it with. So what we are doing in proposing item 3A1 is to create a policy whereby the city is going to set aside 25% of its operating expenditures in a reserve. We're going to do that 5% per year over the next 5 years, so that by 2028, you will have reached that goal. If for some reason money is spent out of that reserve, and I assure you it will be spent from time to time because there are unforeseen things which happen. We're trying to establish the opportunity to respond to those unforeseen things without creating a crisis.
And what this is going to do is it's not going to allow a mayor, no matter who's sitting in this seat, it's not going to allow a mayor to go and just use these reserves without it coming through the council and in front of you. You guys are now very invested in what's going on in the community, and I applaud you, and I'm glad to see such a full house here. This is going to put money back into the bank instead of taken out of the bank. And it's going to ensure that moving forward, nobody sitting in this seat is going to be allowed to just use that money any way they want without coming before the council and in front of you. And that's kind of, I think, a very crucial thing that we want, because in the past, funds have been used and council members here were not made aware. So we just don't want that to continue happening. But we do want to be able to put money back into our reserves and hopefully get our audits caught up, get, our financial situation in a position to where if we do need to borrow money 3, 4, 5 years down the road, we're able to show that we are being fiscally responsible. I mean, it's just the easiest way to explain it is if you have 10 years of bad credit, and then for 3 years you do fantastic, and you go to the bank and you ask them for a $50,000 loan, well, you haven't had good credit long enough for them to trust that you're going to be able to pay back that $50,000 loan. Well, we're in a position right now where the bank's not here. We reached out to multiple banks to see if we could get some kind of a loan to get us through the rest of the year. And they all said, you just don't show a history of being, what's the word?
Fiscally responsible.
Fiscally responsible. So, you know, that's what we'd like to do in the next 5, years. And we'll be able to show that we are fiscally responsible. We're putting money away. We're managing our money well. And if we have to go to get a loan or to get a grant, they'll say, well, you know what? You guys have been doing a fantastic job. You for the last 5 years, you look, there's a lot of positives there. So this is kind of a goal. Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering if there has been any investigation onto where we went wrong with being physically off.
Responsible. Well, so I think I mentioned this at one of our last meetings. We are procuring a lot of information right now, both electronic information and hard copies, and trying to put that information away.
Will there be
That
a money trail to follow?
well, we're gonna see where it takes us. So we are looking at what was done in the past, and we are, like I said, we're putting some of that information together, and further down the road, we'll be able to present it hopefully to a DA or to law enforcement and see what they think. So yes.
David, maybe I'm trying to figure out what's going on in Odo. I did read an article today where you were being quoted, I believe, saying that millions are missing or unaccounted for. Which is it?
No. I've never said that they were missing. There was
San Patricio County News.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read it. There was
There's millions missing. Is what I read.
Well, there was.
So what's going on with that?
It's not missing, it was just spent.
It's spent. There was
Misappropriated.
well, we don't know if we want to say
It's
this.
spent.
It was spent. We will learn as we move
Is there
through.
something going on? I don't
Yeah.
know.
No. As we move through, we'll see if it was just if there was a misappropriation or if so. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr.
No,
Rodriguez.
it's just like that. I'd seen something about that $700,000 invoice that was approved without y'all's approval or without the council.
Yes.
But like, what did we get for that money? Why was it approved without, what did we get for that $700,000
Yeah.
we put out?
Well, I mean, again, that's things that we're gonna end up looking into later. We are looking
So they just give
into.
out
So,
$700,000 without knowing what they're paying for?
well, I mean, I can't say. Yeah, I think we just need to that's kind of a different topic. We need to kind of move forward on the budget. Paul, can you put the actual, the
Mayor, if I can, on what Mr. Gilbert was saying, I mean, the bookkeeper is here that was here previous years. She's still with the city. If you get an auditor, no one talks about an auditor. And
well, I mean, and I think we've discussed this before.
track that money
Yeah,
down.
I think we've
Because you're
discussed.
gonna raise our rates. Our rates are going up whether.
So I understand, and we're gonna, that's a different conversation. So let's go ahead and move on with the budget talks. So, and I think we've addressed it before. Hold on, guys.
Because of the money that was missing?
No. No, the deficit for present time, the deficit at this present time this year was larger because of monies that were spent from last year, correct?
Which included.
Are you okay? You're good? Okay, hey, Paul.
We're good.
So,
We're good.
all right.
And
So-
so to help with the process of reestablishing fiscal responsibility, the proposal is to establish a reserve of 25% of the annual operating expenditures of the city, which would be used for emergencies, repairs of infrastructures, and things of that nature as determined appropriate by the council. as well as a provision for returning that money to the reserves as part of your annual budgeting process. The 25% guideline is a minimal guideline, which is recommended for municipalities. Before you, you have a draft of the ordinance, which would effectuate the 25% reserve.
So we have a motion right now from Councilman Falcon to approve the 2023-2024 budget. We have a second by Councilman Candela to move forward and approve the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget. If there's any more discussion, part of the budget process also includes the resolution for approving fiscal and budgetary policies, which Mr. Bain just discussed. In addition, that is to establish a cash reserve equal to 25% of the budgeted annual operating expenditures for the general fund and system fund. Part of the approving of the budget also includes a resolution for changing the monthly fees charged to users of solid waste as contained in Exhibit 1. Also includes the ordinance in changing the water and sewer base and volume rates as contained also in Exhibit 1. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with a vote. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Quick question. Does it not have to, do you not have to include the tax rate there or no?
No, it's a different.
That's next.
It's after the budget.
After
That's
the
after the
budget.
budget.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, that's after.
So we're going to go ahead and move forward with a vote. Place 1.
No.
Place 2. Place 3.
And Mayor, for the record, are they voting on?
Just the
On the
budget, just the budget.
Or just the budget?
Just the budget.
Approving the budget along with the,
No, these are
So with
separate.
the 4, right?
No, no.
Huh?
Those are separate.
I think you gotta vote on them
Well, that's
each
what
one
it
individually.
says. That's why he read them.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all one?
It's all one.
Okay, okay, yeah, okay.
Because he
Okay.
read 1, 2, 3, and
Okay,
4.
I'm like, okay.
no, it's all
That's all-
part
okay.
of the
I'm sorry,
budget
I'm sorry.
approval process.
Well, I include that in my motion.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yes.
As long as we're clear.
To adopt the budget for fiscal year 2023, items 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, only 4 shouldn't be in there, right?
Well, that's the budget.
Because 4 you're already saying.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's it. So just 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
So we
I
have
change my motion.
place 1, no. Place 2 is yes. Place 3,
Yes.
place 4.
Yes.
Place 5.
Yes.
Motion passes. We will move on to item D, which is discuss, consider, and take action to adopt the tax rate with the following language included in the resolution. Did I say B or C? B, right? Okay, item B. This tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate. The tax rate will effectively be raised by 3.5% and will decrease taxes for the maintenance and operations by $100,000 home by approximately negative $44.21. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we go ahead and accept the tax rate as presented.
I second.
A motion is made by Councilman Huerta, second by Councilman Dominguez. Is there any discussion?
I'm not certain, I'll defer to the tax assessor collector, but I think the actual dollar amounts of the tax rates have to be spoken out loud.
On the back page, you have to say that.
Okay, so let's go to the back page now. So, Councilman Huerta, I guess it's the top there.
The motion, or he reads it?
I move that,
Okay.
I move that we.
Okay, I see, okay. I move that the property tax revenues be increased by the adoption of an M and O tax rate of 0.525385 and an INS tax rate of 0.015274, for a total tax rate of 0.540659, which effectively 5.3% decrease in the tax rate.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Councilman Dominguez. So any discussion? I'm sure anybody wants to go higher. So we're gonna go ahead and vote. Place one, place two, place three, place four.
Yes.
Place five. Motion passed. Item C. Discuss, consider, and take action to authorize the mayor to accept insurance policy scheduled to renew in October for the Texas Municipal League and the windstorm insurance. Mr. Bain, I think you need to do your presentation here.
I'll make a motion that we, make a motion that we accept, the mayor to accept the insurance policy schedule. To review in October of,
Okay, motion is made by Councilman Falcon and second by Councilman Huerta. Any discussion? It's just to give,
look at it.
to give permission to, what is it? To accept insurance policy schedule, to authorize the mayor to accept insurance policy schedule to renew in October. So,
Schedule, this is schedule.
do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Basically, the city has two different pools of insurance policies. One of them is underwritten by TML. It covers the liability, it covers the automobiles, it covers workers' comp and things of that nature. The other policy has to do with the windstorm coverage. And each of those policies, the TML policy is renewing at a rate that is consistent with last year. We may actually have an opportunity to save some money from last year's windstorm policy because it had taken a rather significant surge from 2 years prior. But that information, part of it that needs to be still evaluated has to do with the valuations that are placed on the properties as they're insured. Sometimes when an insurance company is being a little aggressive and they say that the cost of construction has gone high, they'll increase the value of your home. Well, we need to go through or have an opportunity to go through that on an item by item basis in order to be more comfortable with the total amount of premium that the city would pay based upon the total valuations which are assigned to each of the city's properties. There simply hasn't been a sufficient amount of time to do that. There's certainly, I'm not in a position to do it. So the idea was to allow the mayor to be authorized to renew those policies. One of them, I believe, renews October 4th, and the other one, I think, October 7th.
And I think that, as Mr. Bain said, a lot of your insurance, just like on your homes, it depends on the value, and looking at what they valued some of our properties at. It seemed like it was valued high, and if you allow that, if you just kind of go with it, you're going to end up paying higher premiums. So we'd like them to kind of look at it again and see if they miss, if their evaluation maybe was not accurate, or maybe we can somehow bring those premiums down. So obviously, I would not sign or approve anything without letting the council know. But because we're in such a tight budget, a tight time right now, by just giving me the permission, once we get the numbers together, I'll send them to the council, via email, let them know this is what the numbers are. Are y'all okay with it? If they are, then we'll go ahead and sign those agreements, and move forward. If they're not, then we might have to call a special meeting or something like that. But it's nothing that would be done without their knowledge. Anything else, Mr. Bain?
As to insurance, no, sir.
Okay. So, we're gonna pursuant to section 551.0, I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. If there isn't any more discussion, we're gonna go ahead and vote on the motion to authorize the mayor to accept insurance policies scheduled to renew in October for the Texas Municipal League and Windstorm Insurance. Place 1?
Yes.
Place 2? Place 3?
Yes.
Place 4? Place
Yes.
4?
Yes.
Place 5?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Billy?
Billy made the motion, and then,
No.
I'm-
You made the motion.
He made the tax motion.
oh, okay.
I made the
So-
motion.
You made the motion.
He made the motion, I said.
So pursuant to section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code involving personal matters, we're going to go into executive session.
I like to table this.
And we're going to discuss the agreement on the attorneys, Mr. Isasi.
I make the motion, we table this agreement with attorney.
So when do you want to table it to?
Just table. I gotta get a second person to discuss.
So we have a motion to go ahead and table this. Do I have a second?
Epi, how do you feel? You want
I don't think Epi
to table
can.
it, prolong it?
It's being tabled, I mean.
Well-
Okay, second, we table.
So,
Okay.
so we have a motion to table by Councilman Falcon and second by Councilman Huerta. So we're going to go ahead and vote on the motion to table. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5. So we will revisit this motion at a later date. We're going to move on to the next item, which is reports from the mayor and city council. So place 1, any reports? Place 2, place 3.
I know there's a money issue, a funny issue, but there's a lot of potholes. There's one right here by the post office. And somebody's car's gonna break. It's big, like a swimming pool. Oh, they. Can you get somebody on that?
Yeah, I'll have Jerry look at it.
It's big.
I'll have Jerry look at it. Place 4, any comments?
Yes, couple. As y'all notice, the sidewalk is getting demolished. And there's a couple of things we got going. We got Christmas in the park, and we also got the trunk or treat. So we gotta make arrangements for that.
Yeah.
And we'll have a EDC meeting probably next week sometime to discuss some of the items.
Place 5?
I'm not finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess I'm finished now.
Yeah. Place 5? No? No?
Make a motion.
All right. Again, I know we had some other folks that came in to kind of, speak, but we're going to go ahead and move here. As far as me, I thank you guys so much for your continued support and involvement with what's going on in the community, because without y'all, and I think I've said it multiple times, the city of Odom, they're our investors. We're just the board. We handle y'all's money. And we have to make decisions that, are going to help the community. And I think that we've done that today. So we're going to move to item 4, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Councilman Dominguez, second by Councilman Candela, and we are adjourned. Thanks, Isaac. Thank you, sir.